our business, my dad started 40 years ago, and now myself and my two younger sisters are running the show. And I really think that all of the technology that has come into the roofing business has allowed us to do that. Like just starting off with like ordering RoofR, Eagle View measurements. Can I drop these names?
Yeah, okay, it's fine.
Okay. Just having all of those, having the satellite measurement and not having to do hand measurements and having somebody go out and just walk the roof, and then we can be, with the customer on the ground floor talking through our process has been like a game changer and has allowed, I feel like, more women to get into the roofing industry. And my dad has always ran a very lean operation in the sense that he doesn't want to have like a lot of money going out the door to manage that cash flow. So things like ProLine help significantly when there's so many hours in the day and we have to reach out to, 20 customers, and then we have to do 10 site visits, and we have to do repairs, and we have all these things going on. And to be able to have all of this communication already set up and like initiated for us has allowed us to do so much more in the business and allow us to be a lot more customer facing, so that we're not always, in the office, but we're with the customers, they're seeing our faces, because at the end of the day, it's me and my three sisters that are like the biggest selling point of our business. Yeah. So the more that they can see us, I think the more it allows us to sell, and the more that ProLine can do in the back end for us, it just allows us to sell so much more and scale our business so much more quickly.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, and that's was really the focus from the start, because you guys have been with us for a long time. Yeah. I think it's going on 3 years.
I think so. Yeah. So we had the legacy account. Now we just switched over to the CRM.
Yeah. And that first legacy version, we helped you guys kind of solve that communication, the automation piece.
Yep.
And then now you've transitioned to our CRM version. What was sort of the motivating factors there in making that transition away from another CRM that was integrated with ProLine to just using now ProLine stuff?
Well, I think before we had all these different tech decks like put together, had Zapiers going through all of them, and then it's like when one thing changes with one of those applications, it messes up the Zapier, and it could be a week where we don't know that happened, and we're like, wait, where's all this communication that we're supposed to be sending out? Like, why isn't this person moving through our process like they should? And so ProLine has everything all at one place. So that was the motivation to switch over to ProLine. And then my hesitation was like, oh my gosh, I have to build like all this stuff out and it's gonna take forever. And then I was like, I know I need to do it. I know it's the right move to have everything in one place. And then I started actually making the switch, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier than any other application I've ever had to set up. It was just like, once you know the different campaigns that you need to like kind of move together, like the stage campaign, and what are the other ones? The stage, and then there's the
stages, and then campaigns
and all that, and having those all sync together. So once I kind of figured out how that runs, I was like, oh my gosh, there's like endless possibilities, and it allows you to have so much more capability and so much more to like fit into your process. I felt like a lot of other CRMs were for like a particular process. They were set up for like one way to do things, and like how we do things is a little bit differently in that we're sending out the quote before we ever go on site to see the customer. And I feel like with ProLine, it really allows you to have any sort of process and be able to handle it and be able to set it up pretty quickly without like, much much thought, really. It's just so simple, but so powerful all at the same time.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had that good experience, like with the transition. Was there ever a point during that transition? I'm sure you hit some roadblocks where you weren't sure how to do X, Y, or Z, and where you might have had to reach out to your team. What was that like, interacting with our team, getting support?
Yeah, so I think, when I did come across spots where I was like, okay, I think something should be working this way, but I don't think it is, I would just reach out on the message or on the side, and it's nice that when I send a message, it says, okay, like it's going to be 60 minutes, or it's going to be 5 minutes, or this is when you can expect a response. That was really awesome, because I knew that if it was 60 minutes, they're probably in a team meeting or something, so I'm going to go off and do something else while I wait for that. Or if it was 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, I know they're going to get back to me, and it was always within that time frame too, which is nice, because it's terrible when you send something out there and you're just left hanging for 15, 20, now it's an hour, now it's 2 hours, but just knowing when you guys were going to respond is really helpful to allow me to pivot and do something else while I'm waiting for that, or most of the time you guys get back to me in 5 minutes. So that was always super helpful, because then I was able to kind of work on something else or have a response to be able to fix that right away and keep moving on with the build out process.
Nice. Who was it that was your onboarding specialist that you worked with? Which team member? I think it might have been Rolando.
Oh, it was. Yeah, it was Rolando. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And what was that like working with him? Was he able to sort of help guide the process?
Yeah, and I think he was probably oh, you're pretty savvy with this. You're picking this up really good. But I basically would build something out, and then I would hop on a call with Rolando and say, okay, this is how I set it up, and this is what I'm expecting it to do. Do you see anything that I did incorrectly? And I kind of walked him through that. And he gave me a couple of different pointers or what to change, or things that could get messed up, and gave me a different idea of how to approach it. And then I was able to take that feedback and kind of apply it as I continued building it out. Because I kind of started with my contract and the sales process first, and made sure that flow went smoothly. And then if I set it all up correctly, then I knew I could basically copy it for the operation side of things and then go from there.
Love that.
So I kind of did it in 2 steps.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And getting, you could kind of proof it there.
And that was, the sales side of things is where most of what we do, kind of where ProLine really helps us. And then the operation side wasn't something we really ever had set up. So I was I want to get the sales portion set up and get that running. And so basically I turned that on first, and then continued to build out the operation side of all of the campaigns after that. Yeah. Because I was basically, I think we turned off our integrations with Job Nimbus on a Friday, and I started building a little bit up over the weekend, and then on Monday I went live with the sales side of things for just the initial couple of steps, just to have contacts coming in from when they reach out to us, and then moving them through the phases of the sales campaign. So we set that up pretty quickly,
That's really
and
fast,
then tweaked it kind of a little bit here and there, and then did the operations, and it was very smooth.
That was super fast. Have you been able to? Because definitely the sales part is where ProLine creates the most value, the sales side of the business. But we've been building out more and more functionality around the operations and production sides.
Yeah.
How much have you been able to automate there with ProLine? Have you found that there is a lot, or is it kind of tough?
It's more more like for us, what we have going through the operation side is a lot of like communication as far as, and didn't even talk about the tasks yet. I'm obsessed with like creating tasks throughout the process and having like a checklist for my inside sales and my SMA virtual assistants to use. And that's wonderful because I know that everything that needs to get done is getting done before the job starts. So like once a job is sold, it starts creating tasks like pull the permit, review the contract with the homeowner, make sure that we have the shingle color selected, and then it doesn't allow us to move to a new status until those things are completed. So I know that when we are scheduling a job and my crew's going to be out there, all of those things have been done, which is really nice to be able to have those lists all in our CRM versus having a separate Excel file where we keep a permit log and like we cross them off as we've done permits, but now I know that if they check it off, it's been done. So that's really nice from like the operation side of just making sure everything before we start the job is getting done, and then as the project moves through the operation, so like a day before, they get an email and a text message saying, okay, here's a few things that like you need to remember when we're coming out there, like the car has to be out of the driveway, what time our crew is going to show up, and all these little reminders throughout each step of the way is what we're using ProLine to communicate. So then like the day of the job, we're saying, hey, like towards the end of the day, they get another email and text that says, all right, we're finishing up. The crew is going to do a cleanup of the job site, but then our inspector is going to be out the following day and do a second sweep with the magnet and just make sure everything's clean, make sure everything's been installed properly. So just, it allows us to have that time where the homeowner is not being like, oh my gosh, like you just finished the job and there's still nails in this bed, or there's, this is happening. We're giving that information saying, okay, yeah, we're going to be back out tomorrow to like take care of any last small items that need to be addressed. So it's a lot of communication through that, where we're getting a lot of customers that reach out to us with those questions, and we're just trying to like put that information out there so we can limit the amount of phone calls that we receive. We're still going to get them, but at least that gives that information to the homeowner, just kind of holding their hand, because it seems like there's, we don't know, does a homeowner prefer a phone call, a text message, an email? And now we're covering two of those bases with ProLine, and then we're also giving a phone call. So it's like we're ensuring we are providing like the best communication and support to our homeowners. And by having those automated emails and text messages, we're doing that without having to spend the time doing it, because it's all set up automatically.
It's all been done. Done every time.
Done every time. No matter what. And they're getting that information for sure. And if we forget to make the phone call, they're at least getting that.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that's the huge thing with the automations. It's like the automations, aren't going to do the whole job for you.
Right.
But it often creates that bare minimum where even if someone does drop the ball, like at least that's what part's covered.
At least that's there. Yeah, it's kind of like our fail-safe. Like it's just there to make sure all of our bases are covered, and then it's our job to kind of go above and beyond that.
I love that approach. Well, this has been great. I think we'll do like one little last question here is like, how do you feel about the future with ProLine? Is there anything that you're excited about? Is there anything that, or it could be on the business side, is there anything now that you have ProLine implemented on the CRM side, is there things that you're really excited about as far as the growth of your business that are now possible?
I I'm just excited because we're going to be able to be a lot more customer facing within our business. Since ProLine is able to take that communication off of our plate, we'll be able to be out in front of the customer more, which I think is going to help drive a lot more Google reviews, because I think them seeing us is really beneficial. So just taking that extra workload off our plate, I think, is going to help our business excel. But then I'm also excited just for ProLine because, I mean, anytime I'm thinking of an idea, I put it on your idea roadmap, and I feel like you guys really look at those and consider them, and I think that there's just so much possibility for ProLine to continue to grow and continue to offer more solutions to your customers that I'm just excited to see what you guys come up with next, or what I come up with next and then you implement.
Perfect. Yeah, we love the ideas. I mean, it's literally one of our core values is speak up, because we want to be the best idea wins organization. So yeah, it's been an interesting transition now that we have gotten bigger. We have a lot of ideas coming in from a larger pool of customers, which is why we implemented the idea board but the thing we wanted to avoid, which a lot of larger companies or a lot of companies tend to fall into as they grow, is they're just they just basically sweep the ideas under the rug. Oh, we already have too many ideas, don't want to hear it. And so we've been very intentional about, no, we need to make sure that we are listening to every single piece of feedback, every single idea. And as we grow and what we address gets wider, there is ideas that unfortunately we're not going to be able to for one reason or another. But that's also what I love about the voting aspect of Idea Board now. We can see what do the majority of our users, what should we maybe prioritize more. And then with that being said, they're almost every week there is something that goes on the idea board that has one vote or maybe two votes, and that just happens to be an easy add. It's just, it's not complex. It's a simple tweak, simple piece of feedback, and we'll knock that out. And in many ways, those are my favorite, because it's I know that just made someone's day, and it's we can't do that if it's a really big complex ad and just a couple votes, but it's cool that we can do that.
I think you guys, one of the ones that I put on there, you guys did implement within I feel 24 hours or something like that, which it was just the tasks and having the name of the person that it was associated with to show up there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's awesome. I'm so happy.
I love that. Yeah. That's the exact situation.
It's just those little things.
Well, thank you so much, Allie.
Absolutely.
It's been a real pleasure, and I love having you on the platform, and we'll continue to serve you guys and support you.
Can't wait. Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks, AJ.
Thank you.